guess what? If you think I've only got one set of clothes, it's not because I only have one set of clothes. It's because we're shooting 2 videos because we never get around to it. So this is following on from one we shot about 10 minutes ago. Just want to, now we've got the car down on the ground, show you what we've done around that cooling problem that we are hoping that we've actually got to the bottom of. So yeah, come in a little closer. Let's have a peek at what we've done. So guys, with any kind of race car build, you're going to delete the heater core. So that's relatively straightforward because there's a pipe that goes into the cabin to the heater core and another one which comes back, and you take out all that paraphernalia and you block them off. And apparently that's all that you need to do. And in fact, if you buy a kit to do that delete from ECS Tuning and companies like that, you will get a beautifully machined little aluminium plug with an O-ring on it, which fits into the hole in the side of the head in this plane over here. Normally there's a plastic Bakelite kind of pipe which comes out, turns to 90 degrees and runs towards the back, and from there goes into the heater core. In our case, we just left the original pipe, cut the hose and put a plug in there, and then on the return it comes back onto the bottom of the expansion bottle. And there too, we just cut the pipe and put our own plug in. And again, the ECS Tuning kit and the others like it come with a custom-made cap that fits on very, very elegantly. So based on the fact that those are the only 2 plugs or caps that you get in the set, I think it's logical to presume that that's all you need for that heater core delete, but it's not actually the case, because what we were left with then after deleting that was effectively the cold water return from the radiator. It comes out the bottom of the radiator on this side, driver's side in South Africa, comes across and up into the thermostat housing over here, goes through the engine and does stuff, picks up heat and comes back out the top of the thermostat housing and into the combined kind of bottle assembly. And there's a pipe that goes into the expansion tank as well as a pipe which goes into the radiator, and that's one molded fitting. So we don't quite understand what the hell's going on there, and then into the radiator. So that sounds quite simple, and we know that this engine is designed to run the head cooler than the block, and there's all manner of interesting things there. But we still had one pipe left, and that was a second pipe which ran from the bottom of the expansion tank, and which also came onto a plastic pipe of sorts, a Bakelite pipe of sorts, and which plugs into the back of the timing cover. And that we left connected because no mention in anything that we've come across had spoken about deleting that pipe. So we decided, given that we were fresh out of options, that we would disconnect that pipe and plug both ends of that as well. And we think it's worked. We're trying to understand why. It looks to me that having that pipe connected allows for the radiator to have some partial bypass. In other words, the water pump is pumping ultimately through the head, through the engine. It comes back, and instead of all of it being diverted through the radiator, some of it is able to pass through the expansion tank and travel back into the engine uncooled. Trying to follow the design and the schematic of how the cooling system works on these engines is beyond me, and I can generally unravel these things. So all I want to say is, if you've done this mod of deleting your heater core, please delete the last remaining pipe as well. You won't pick up anything under road use, so it's quite tough. But it's literally only when the car is literally driven at the limits, lap after lap, that you just get the runaway temperatures happening. So hopefully we got to the bottom of that. Now, obviously, one of the big issues that we had with the overheating is that we were really running blind. So we had our gauge, which, as you know, in the case of BMW, is damped. We have not been successful yet to recalibrate that, as advised by one of our subscribers. We're just too dumb to get that right. We will get it right sometime. But so we were generally running with the hidden menu unlocked on the cluster so that we could read actual temperatures. And this is where we saw at the last event, straight after a brand new engine build, that we ran or at least Nick the bloody hooligan did, ran at 124 degrees. How the motor held together, goodness knows, but anyway, we seem to have gotten away with it. So we decided we were going to install a second temperature sensor. Now the factory sensor is picked up on the back of the head, which is in theory the hottest place on the head, because the flow comes, in fact, no, it shouldn't be the hottest, it probably comes back from that point and then it has to move all the way to the front. But anyway, it's in the head itself. And that's what the gauge and the DME are measuring. So what we did is we just bought a normal aftermarket temperature gauge together with its own little sensor, and then I drilled and tapped into the back of the timing cover, literally into the thermostat housing space. So yeah, there you can see Nick's finger and the little sensor, and yeah, I managed to get it in there where it wouldn't foul with anything. And so we take a feed off there just straight onto another analog gauge in the cabin, which is great. So now we can see actual temperatures at a glance, and it's right next to our oil temperature and our air fuel ratio meters and whatnot. So yeah, that's hopefully we've gotten to the bottom of that. I showed you the build of the cold air intake. Really chuffed about how that turned out. It really is, quite elegant. It doesn't look too ghetto, I don't think. So we've got this PVC pipe, which is poked straight through a headlight. Headlight still works, so we still get the low beam if we ever wanted it. And then it pops out the other side, and we've done a little bit of fettling inside here just to change the angle of our cone, and change this box area ever so slightly. Got some nice support for it now. Yeah, we use the ambient temperature sensor has now been mounted in that actual intake. Nick, if you take a shot right down there, you should see the little probe sticking down. So that's what you would normally see inside the cabin as ambient air temperature. Now we know exactly what air temperature we're feeding to our air intake, and then we tied it up and put some nice new rubber or silicone boots in and whatnot, and got rid of the old modified factory stuff. So yeah, little bit by little bit we're getting there. Next thing that will come is going to be our fire suppression system, which we bought. So far I've only mounted the one external cable pull, but that's going to be really cool, that we're going to have a proper fire suppression system in the car with engine protection as well as driver protection. And yeah, it should give us a little bit of peace of mind. There's not a lot of regulation here in South Africa, so all we're compelled to do is run around with a 1.5 kilo extinguisher in the car. Last year we witnessed 3-4 fires, a couple of them absolutely catastrophic, destroyed cars, and people were lucky to get away with their lives. So for the sake of a few thousand rand, it's a high priority for us, and we have made some spend on some safety related items. Cool. So guys, until the next one, enjoy.